Hi there, welcome back to Teaching Them. I'm Michael Keats, and I have a lesson for you today from the book of Esther. In the book of Esther, chapter 1, there is a hero that I think doesn't get a lot of press. We don't talk about her very much, but it is Queen Vashti. Now, you may remember that Queen Vashti was the original queen of Persia, married to King Xerxes. And I won't read the whole chapter, but in chapter 1, basically the king is throwing a big party. It's a long feast, lasts multiple days. So the king is throwing a feast, and it's gone 7 days. And Queen Vashti is throwing a parallel feast for the women, and it is also going for a long time. And it starts in verse 10. Here's the part of the story that the lesson's about. On the 7th day of the feast, when King Xerxes was in high spirits because of the wine, he told 7 eunuchs who attended him, and you can read the names, I'm not going to try to bring Queen Vashti to him with the royal crown on her head. He wanted the nobles and all the other men to gaze on her beauty, for she was a very beautiful woman. But when they conveyed the king's order to Queen Vashti, she refused to come, and this made the king furious, and he burned with anger. Now, Bible commentators will say there was more going on here than the text gives us. The text is basically saying that she was invited to come in, commanded to come in, and that he was going to parade her in front of all these drunken men, which would have been an assault to her dignity. And there might have even been some even worse tones to that. I'll let you look that up in the commentary. But for the purpose of this lesson, I think it's enough to say that Queen Vashti was commanded to come in and parade her beauty in front of everybody else. And this would be a very vulnerable place for a woman to go. A bunch of drunken men. She's the only woman in the room. They're looking at her, gawking at her. It would have been trading her dignity to go in there. So she refused to do it. And I think she doesn't get enough credit for how much courage that took. She knew at the least that she was going to make King Xerxes very angry by refusing a direct order. And so she was risking a lot. But as the story goes on, we learn that because of this, he was so angry, he took her crown away from her, and that she could no longer be queen. And I don't know exactly what her life was like after that. The Bible is very silent on it, but she lost her power, she lost her influence, she may have lost a lot of friends, she may have had to live in poverty after this time. Her life got demonstrably worse, at least in the physical comforts of this life, when she could no longer be queen. And then she had to suffer the humiliation of being a queen whose crown was taken away. So this was a very courageous decision by her, and very unfortunate that King Xerxes chose to act the way that he did. Very unfair, unjust. So in this lesson, what I'd like to do is I'd like to tell the kids, hey, there are times in this life where you're going to be asked to make choices. And those choices are usually to get a crown of this world. We'll call it a crown of this world. And that could be reputation, could be popularity or fame, could be wealth, could be money, could be power. Wealth and money are the same. Could be power, could be nice things like that. It happens all the time. People are constantly going for those crowns of this world and choosing those over their dignity. They're choosing those over self-respect. But Queen Vashti set as an example. She's a hero because she chose to respect herself rather than keep the crown. And so we're going to have the kids go through some scenarios that are real life, modern day kind of scenarios that they may be faced with as kids, and have them make a choice. Are they going to choose the crown of this life, or are they going to choose dignity? And so in order to facilitate that, the lesson has these cards, and on the one side is the crown of this world. So that represents money, power, fame, popularity, all that stuff. On the other side is dignity. So it's just a beautiful smiling child there. And so they can choose this, or they can choose this, and they'll let you know. You'll read the scenario, and then they'll flip their cards one way or the other to say, I choose the crown of this world, or I choose dignity. Now, obviously, we hope they choose dignity every time, but this sets up some good discussions that you can have, and you can kind of explore their motivation for why they chose what they chose. So I've got 10 scenarios that are here part of the lesson. I'm not going to read all of them, but let me give you a couple examples. So scenario number 1 is, some new friends have said that you can be part of the group only if you steal something from a local store to show that you're cool enough. This, the crown of the world that this offers is belonging to a group and having really cool friends. So you're going to say you have a choice. The crown of this world choice is to steal something and become part of the group. The dignity choice is to find another better group of friends that won't ask you to steal. So then you'd say, everybody flip your cards. And so they'll choose, either I choose dignity or I choose the crown of this world. And then you'd say, well, tell me why. Why did you choose that? And you're helping them to form their character as you're having these discussions. They're thinking about it ahead of time, and that way, when they are posed with something similar, they're going to remember this exercise and go, nope, I'm going to choose the dignity choice, not the crown of life choice. Let me give you another one. One of your friends is talking about the cool stuff he got to do over the summer. Your summer was pretty lame compared to his, and you're thinking about lying about what you did in order to make it sound better than it really was. Now, the crown that this offers is looking important to your friends. That's the crown. The crown choice is tell a lie. Inflate your summer, make it sound so cool, and tell about all these wonderful things that you did. But the dignity choice is to tell the truth or choose not to say anything instead of telling a lie. Here's another one. You're one of the smartest kids in school, but the other kids make fun of you when you get good grades. Maybe you should stop getting the right answers on the test just so you can be a regular student. The crown that the world offers is fitting in so that others will accept you. So the crown choice would be you intentionally mark some of your answers wrong on your next test. The dignity choice would be yourself, keep getting good grades, and be thankful to God that He made you smart. So that's another one. Let me do one more just to give you a flavor of the scenarios that are in here. A friend just told you that she got the answers to tomorrow's difficult math test from her older sister. The teacher uses the same test every year. The crown that the world offers is cheating to get a good grade. The crown choice would be use the answers so that you can make a good grade on the test. But the dignity choice would be study without the answers and try to pass the test on your own. The purpose of this activity is really to give them practice making good choices. So they're choosing between crown of this world choices and dignity choices all the time. But maybe every day, maybe several times a day, they're being asked to make these kind of choices, and every choice forms their character. So what we're doing is we're giving them an opportunity to practice it and to recognize it for what it is. You are being offered the crown of this life, which is being popular, and having lots of friends, or getting good grades and being impressive, or it may be going along so that you don't feel left out of a social group. Those are the crown of this life. And sometimes you got to make the hard choice and say, but my dignity is more important than that. I may lose that, but just like Queen Vashti, she made the dignity choice. She chose not to go and parade herself in front of all those men, but instead to honor her dignity, even though she knew it was going to cost her, even if she didn't know how much it was going to cost her. So I hope that you'll enjoy using this lesson with the kids. Please leave me some comments. Let me know how it goes. If you want to print out the cards and the scenarios and the whole lesson plan, you can go to www.teachingthem.org. God bless you. I'll see you next time.